Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's update because it is going to be update number 10, I believe, in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, or 19 shadows in 2019. I do have some really exciting updates to share with you guys. We are going to be getting to roll in 2 new shades this update, which is super exciting. That means I've hit pan on 2 shades, and I also have bonus pan on 1 other shade that wasn't necessarily going in this project, but I did hit pan on a 3rd eyeshadow. So it felt like a pretty successful month. So if you guys are interested in my update, then stay tuned. First, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I do upload videos 5 days a week. So if that interests you at all, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button before moving on. Other than that, let's just get into this update. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the least exciting progress and move on to the most exciting progress. So starting with my Nabla Secrets palette, the eyeshadow that I am working on in this palette is this shade right here, which is in the shade Creation Crown. I'll swatch it for you guys. It's this really intense gold shade. There it is right there. And I only ended up using this one time just because it is so intensely gold and so like richly, like almost like an orangey gold. It just didn't complement some of the looks that I thought it was going to in the way that I thought it would. So I feel like this one's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to use just because I'm used to using just different golds. Now overall, I do really love this Nabla palette, would highly recommend. I've had a lot of fun playing around with this palette, and in fact I just recently ordered the, what's this one? This is the Secret palette. So I just recently ordered the like Poison Garden palette from Nabla, and I'm really excited to play with that one too. But there's literally no progress on this Creation Crown shade, and I have a feeling this one's going to be rolling throughout this project for a while. Next we have the ColourPop Perception palette in collaboration with Shayla. So this is what the palette looks like, and I'm currently working on this shade right here, which is in the shade Culture. It's this mid-toned matte brown, and honestly this should be a pretty easy shade for me to hit pan on, but I've just been focused on other shades. I am going to try and make this more of a priority the next month to see if I can hit some pan on it, or at least start to see a dip going, because as you guys can see, I will try and post a picture right here, but I'll also just kind of try and give you a close-up. There's not much of a dip going at all in this, and there's really probably no progress within this either. I maybe reached into this one time, but like I said, I was more focused on other palettes. And then so I've been mostly focused on my Pan Those Eyeshadows palettes during like my work weeks, and then I've been having a lot of fun playing around with more color or just kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone on days that I film. So I've been reaching for a lot of other palettes and cycling through some other palettes throughout my collection on non-filming days. So I just haven't been like totally dedicated to my Pan Those eyeshadow palettes, and this one is one that definitely got forgotten about this past month. Okay, so one palette that I have really been focused on is my Natasha Denona Gold palette, and the shade that I'm working on from this palette is called Sandstone, and it is this shade right here, which hopefully you'll be able to see. I do have a dip, I want to say significant, but not really, but I do have a dip going here, and hopefully you'll be able to see when I show you a picture of, when I show you a picture of when we started versus now, but honestly you probably won't be able to see a lot of use throughout the other shades in the palette. But I have been using this shade kind of just as a single shadow shade and go a lot of the time on days that I work, or I've been pairing it with another shimmer shade from my Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, which I'm about to show you guys. I feel like it's gonna take me until the end of the year to hit pan on this, and even so I'm not 100% sure I'll hit pan. I feel like even with consistent use, these pans are so deep that it's just gonna be a little while before I'm able to hit pan on this. So then we had my Milani Bold Obsessions palette, and I'm very excited to show you guys that the shade I was working on, which is in the shade Bear in Mind right here, does have some pan going on it. Hopefully you'll be able to see that pan. Hold on, there we go. So hopefully you can see that pan going there and a very significant dip. So this shade actually has some sheen to it, but I ended up just using it most of the time as an all over lid setting shade, and it worked for me just fine. Oops, I forgot to swatch these so you guys can see what color palette I was working with. It was a very, very neutral, boring color palette. But here is, bear in mind, you can really not even see it, and this worked really well just as an overall lid setting shade. Once I hit pan on this, I pretty much just put this away because I was just kind of done with it. And for my overall like lid setting shade right now, I'm working on one out of my Tartelette Toasted palette, just kind of like as working on in a bonus pan sort of way. But really excited to have hit pan on this so then we can roll in a new shade. And then the other eyeshadow that I was able to hit pan on, I'm very excited about this. This comes from my Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, and I did hit pan on this shade right here, Laurel. So hopefully you guys can see that pretty significant pan right there. This is a very, very soft shade, soft shadow, so it was a little bit crumbly sometimes, but I mostly use this as an inner corner highlight and obviously just focus my brush on the same area every single time. Sometimes I would use this all over the lid as well. It's a really, really stunning shade. Again, these pans are super deep, and even in this like more mini like palette form, you're still getting a really, really good amount of product. I had said I was really nervous to pan this because it was a newer palette to my collection and I didn't know if I was ready to hit pan on it, but even after hitting pan, I still have so much shadow left. I'm really glad that I got to work on this shade because it is beautiful and I absolutely love this palette. I think it is just such a stunning palette. I love that it's the $65 price point rather than the $129, and you're still getting a really, really good amount of product as far as like grams per shadow. So if you've been thinking about this, highly recommend. I know the VIB sale is coming up or is going right now pending when this video posts. Would recommend checking this guy out, but really excited that I was able to hit pan on that, and we are going to be rolling in 2 new shadows. And then as far as my bonus pan is concerned, I did hit pan on this Urban Decay single shadow in the shade Chopper. There we go. Hopefully you can see the little mini baby pan going in this. This was something that I was working on in my graveyard project pan, and I was able to hit pan on that, so super exciting. I'm going to be putting this away for a while. One thing that I haven't been doing, you guys, is taking pictures of the looks that I've been creating with these palettes, mostly because it's just like I'm doing them and then like flying out the door for work. So I do apologize if ever I do a look and it's on like the weekend. I'll take a picture of my eyeshadow looks and try and include them in this video. I know a lot of people will include the looks they've created, but for me it's usually like a 1 shadow or 2 shadow and go. So I could step my game out there, and I apologize. But that being said, it is now time to roll in 2 new shadows. I'm actually really, really excited about this and kind of hoping I get more of a fun color palette this time. So these are the 3 shades that will still be rolling. Those are the first 3 shades that I showed you, obviously, that do not have pan. And now let's roll in 2 new shades to work on for the next month or until I hit pan. Okay, so I currently have 840 eyeshadows throughout my collection that I can select between. I haven't taken out the ones that I've already hit pan on, so if by some miracle I end up rolling in a shadow that I've already hit pan on, we'll just re-roll. So I'm going to jump into the Pretty Random app and generate 2 numbers between 1 and 840, and we get number 275 and 285. So I am excited to see what these actually like correlate to. So the first shadow, number 220. So the first shadow, number 275, is the shade Gypsy from the Pure Festival Free Spirit palette. I literally have no idea what this shade is, but I feel like it might be one of those pressed glitter shades, which makes me a little bit concerned. Either that or like a purple. But I guess at least we'll be playing with some color. And then number 285 comes from my BH Weekend Festival palette, which is really exciting to me because I love that palette. I have panned an eyeshadow from that palette earlier this year. It is in the shade Carnival, which, if I'm not mistaken, might be like a gray blue shade. I could be very wrong, but I'm gonna go grab those palettes and we are going to see the shades that I selected. Okay, so I grabbed the 2 palettes and I haven't even peeked to see what the shades are yet because I want you guys to see like my reaction like organically. Okay, so from the Pure Festival palette. Yep, I knew it. Okay, so the shade Gypsy is this purple shade right here. Ugh, I don't know how this is gonna go. Really don't know how this is gonna go. So there it is swatched, and I'm not a gal that plays around with a whole ton of color unless I've been really into greens lately and figuring out how to make greens work for me, but we're gonna have to figure out a way to make purples work for me. I mean, it is a really pretty purple shade. So we'll see. I do actually I really enjoyed this palette this summer. I thought it created some really nice, just super warm, vibrant, like hot summer day sort of looks, but I definitely didn't play around with that purple shade, so that will be interesting. But we at least finally have some color to add to our quintet, as Tosh always says, which, by the way, you guys, I will link a bunch of other channels who I know are doing the Panthos eyeshadow projects down below, so if you enjoy this style of video, definitely go check them out. I know I personally love this project. Literally cannot wait to do it again next year. It's been, I feel like I say this about every project, especially any project that like other people are doing. I just find them so fun. It's such like, it's so nice to have a sense of community, to have other people like cheering you on. So I've really enjoyed this Panthos eyeshadows project. And I also can't remember if I said this at the beginning, but this project was inspired by Lexi, who I do the roulette pan collab with as well. I will have her channel and her previous 2 playlists linked down below. She is doing a what do they call it? Eyeshadow palette, Pan That palette. She's doing a Pan That palette this year as opposed to this project, but she basically kicked off this whole Pan Those Eyeshadows craze. So I will have her channel linked down below in her videos. Back to the Weekend Festival palette from BH Cosmetics. Again, this is one of my favorite palettes, and I think I know what the Carnival shade is, but yep, I was 100% right. So this is the Carnival shade. It's like this silvery blue shade, so definitely still adding some color to our quintet. So this is these are the 5 eyeshadows that I will be working on the next month or until I hit pan. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit skeptical about my success with this, just because again, I'm not wearing like blues or purples to work, so we'll see how this goes. I am really excited though to finally be playing around with color and to pull in some new palettes. You guys will have to let me know what eyeshadows you are currently trying to pan. What eyeshadows have you panned this year? How many have you panned this year? I would love to hear from you guys. I definitely was hoping to pan more eyeshadows than I have this year, but I'm already looking forward to next year and doing this project again and seeing how many eyeshadows I can hit pan on. I've really been enjoying lately just playing around with like all of my eyeshadow palette collection rather than just always going back to like my same 1 or 2 eyeshadow palettes. So that's always good news, but this is where we are going to wrap up today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for sticking around to watch, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video. Bye.